Rawdawg and some randoms. Usually mostly careful though. Always using protection. Double bagging it sometimes just to make sure there's no seepage. Because gonorrhea, herpes, and stuff. I don't want that.
Rawdawg Football Talk. Strap it up.
Buddy, time to strap it on up. We don't want no seepage up in here.
No herpes or gonorrhea.
Yeah, you know what? Shit, man. Some of these other guys out there need to strap it up, man. What a crazy weekend of football. Huh?
God almighty.
A lot of unexpected and a lot of things happen over the weekend. I guess, we'll be talking about it more in the show, but it's been one interesting weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah. Interesting is putting it nicely, man. That's like politically correct.
Yeah. And the penalties still happen. We'll take a look at the report card kind of when we get ready to get into it. But hey, man, how's everything going? How's the week treating you so far?
Well, once 1 week of football gets over with, come Tuesday, you start planning for the next week.
Yeah, 100%, man. Especially when it comes to the fantasy world.
Yep.
Everybody actively probably going and picking up Derek Carr because I know in my league I watched Derek Carr sit through last week again, so no one picked him up after his first week. I don't think a lot of people had a lot of faith in him just yet.
Yeah.
So I noticed that he wasn't really being picked up, and then I think a lot of people went and swooped up this free agency wire. I'm sure a lot of people were picking up Derek Carr.
Me personally, I think that's a wasted pick.
Okay.
The only reason why I say that is they really haven't played anybody yet. I think they're going to find it out this weekend, and I know they're favored, but that is my. It's not really an upset if you ask me, but that's my underdog pick of the week.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue, though, when they're putting up, I think it's like 45.5 points a game. They've scored every possession that they've had the ball.
Okay.
So, and I get it, but the Dallas Cowboys defense wasn't really, that weak of a defense. So,
they are this year.
What's going
It's
on,
all good,
Kevin?
man.
Hey,
What's
man,
up,
we're
man?
just kind of talking about how crazy of a week it was.
Oh, my gosh. It was crazier than I can believe. I did shitty in everything. I think it was because we were so focused on the weekend at Hero Stock that,
Yeah, that's it.
I really didn't pay a lot of attention to that.
That's it. Well,
we'll go with that.
Okay.
the other thing, too, they put up 49 points against Carolina. And I hate to say it, but Carolina is going to lose their bye week. They're not even going to win the week they don't play. All right.
Yeah, right.
They are rough, man.
It's rough over there. They even switched out the quarterbacks. They dumped the other quarterback already, and yeah. So
and again, that's another one right there, man. Just an amazing quarterback to end up as a backup for a team that will probably go 0-18.
Yeah, it's
gonna
Andy
be a rough Dalton
year for Carolina for sure, man. And maybe Andy Dalton could spark a little hope in their future. Get maybe 2 to 3 wins out of it instead of 0-4.
They just don't have any weapons, man.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a tough year for them, no doubt. But let's go ahead and get on into the top news around the league.
Let's go now.
Anthony, what's going on, man? Welcome into the show, brother.
Big Anthony.
Nice meeting you too, man. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some great things. kind of what were your biggest takeaways, guys, from the second week of season play?
Injuries are going to make it extremely fun this year. I mean, this was they should have had a safety briefing before this week. Man, everybody got hurt.
Yeah, I tell you what, the Miami Dolphins really took a huge blow against the Bills, not just the loss, but they lost their quarterback and defensive player. I mean, it was a rough week for a lot of teams out there.
Yeah, it's brutal for Miami. It definitely was bad news for them. I mean, and listen, as far as I'm concerned, Tua, I know we'll probably talk about this, but Tua's got to stay done.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably it's probably they did put him on the IR. So that's the right decision. I know yesterday was they weren't going to put him on an IR, and as of today, they ended up putting him on the IR.
I mean, if they don't, they're going to put him on life support. So
100%. Yeah, man. I think the doctors were saying that he has some problems with his neck now that pretty much any type of major hits to him is going to probably concuss him. So probably going to have to be thinking about his future and whether he wants to keep on walking or eating through a tube or what he wants to do in life. But Kevin, any big takeaways from you on the second week of season play?
Well, besides the quarterback situations around the league, I felt like we got, if I remember right, there's in the AFC, there is at least 8 teams, if not more, that are 0-2.
Well, let's go ahead and bring up the list right now. So because that's kind of my big takeaway right now is I'll tell you my big takeaway right now is the Baltimore Ravens being 0-2 starting the season off and the New Orleans Saints being 2-0 starting the season off. Now I know there's a big difference in the schedule and stuff, but I gotta say, I'm a little shocked at the Ravens. I knew the first game for them was going to be tough, but I did not expect for them to lose to the Raiders and start off 0-2.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
and same with the Bengals.
I didn't expect that either.
I didn't expect to see the AFC North we were talking about as really tough right now. The AFC South is even looking tough. It's with the Texans. Things are kind of switching up a little bit, but I mean the Texans don't really have a tough division. 2 of the teams in there are 0-2, but I think my biggest takeaway is the Bengals being 0-2 and the Ravens.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of shocked a little bit with the Rams as well. Also started 0-2, maybe 1-1, but not 0-2. Broncos kind of was expecting them to really have a real slow start. They're really struggling on the offensive side. Their defense is keeping them in the game, but their offense just can't get it done right now. They're still struggling. They got to get some help, I think, on the line.
Looking at that list right there, there's probably 4 teams that kind of shocks me that they're 0-2, right? And that's the Bengals, the Ravens, the Rams, and Jacksonville. And the reason why I say that is the Jaguars haven't played they haven't had the start that Ravens had. I mean, Ravens have had their first 2 games was tough, man.
Yeah, they definitely opened it up tough. I wouldn't consider the Raiders that tough. I really was expecting them to have a great bounce back game against the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good bounce back for them to kind of recover from the Chiefs. Now they've taken 2 beats from the AFC West, right back to back, and that's kind of rough now. Does that define and mean they're done for? No. They have a lot to work through now. And I think teams are starting to understand kind of who their bread and butter is, right? So on the flip side of the 0-2 teams, here's what we got for the 2-0 teams right now. And I'll be honest with you. I'm really shocked to actually see the Minnesota Vikings up there, the Saints and the Chargers.
And the Steelers.
And even the Seahawks are kind of shocking me, right? I mean, they're squeaking by each of their wins. They're barely getting by, but they're managing to be 2-0 right now. So I was kind of shocked. Really, the two lists are very shocking for me. And even the Steelers, even though I got to say the Steelers defense is really tough.
Yeah,
and
but they didn't even
the game.
They don't even know who their quarterback's going to be week from week.
Yeah, but in their case, I mean, who knows? In some cases, there's packages they can go double quarterback, and do some weird little play. But I think right now they're still riding with Fields, right? Like as long as he continues to get they're 2-0 right now, there's no reason to go sit him. The defense is keeping them alive.
So what do you think about these teams here, these best 2-0 teams? Out of those teams, which teams or team do you think is going to go down this week?
So I'll have to look a little bit. We can kind of look at the schedule. Honestly, so the Texans and the Minnesota Vikings, one of them is going to walk away with a 3-0, and the other one's going to walk away 2-1 right there, right off rip.
Right up there.
The Eagles playing the Saints, but they're playing in New Orleans. I think New Orleans is probably going to carve them up, man. I mean, they're playing in New Orleans. I think that might be a little bit of a tougher game, but I went against the Saints, against the Cowboys, and I said it here. If they beat the Cowboys and they beat them well, I'm not going to go against the Saints anymore like that. So,
you did say that.
Yes, you heard me say it, and I'm going to hold myself to it. So, now, okay, so we got the Jaguars and the Bills. I think the Bills are going to probably end up getting them. That's in Buffalo.
I think the Chargers is going to beat the Steelers.
So yeah, there's two different games right there out of those teams. Two different games where one of them is going to walk away. One of them is going to walk away with the 2-1, and the other one's going to walk away 3-0. Now, the Texans are looking good right now.
They are,
and I mean they're moving really high up in those power rankings right now. As we kind of talk about that, we'll bring up the scores from this past week. So we had 26-23 the Baltimore Ravens. Lost to the Raiders, and then the Chargers beat the Carolina Panthers 26-3. Saints carved up the Dallas Cowboys 44-19. The Bucks beat the Lions. Right? Is that the Lions?
Yeah.
Yep. The Lions 20-16. That one right there is a surprising one, right? And it was in Detroit. 16-10. Green Bay Packers beat the Colts. Browns 18-13. They beat the Jaguars. The 49ers lost to the Minnesota Vikings. I was really shocked on that one as well. That one definitely had the 49ers in my books on that one.
Me too.
23-20. The Seahawks beat Patriots. Tough. That was a close game, and I kind of thought that one might be more of a shootout. They are kind of more matched up around each other. They're not that great, but they're okay. They're mediocre teams. The Jets 24-17 over the Titans. The Commanders beat the Giants by 3. It's 21-18. The Rams lost to the Cardinals by a lot. It was 41-10. That's a shocker, right? I mean, the blowout.
Well, the
that's a big
shocker
one.
is Marvin Harrison, the rookie. I mean,
Yeah.
he came in the NFL to play. There's, he's playing like the next Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase.
They showed, I guess week 1 he really didn't do much. They said here's Harrison's son's highlight reel, and it was one play of him going like this, wide open by himself. What threw the ball to him, I guess, that day. I was like, oh. But yeah, that dude's gonna be a great ball player.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
And then the Steelers beat the Broncos 13-6. That was a really close one, and once again, the Broncos defense is just holding them in there. They couldn't even get in the damn end zone. The Chiefs barely squeaked it out against the Bengals, and I know that one was, there's a lot of penalties in that game. They kind of hurt that game a lot.
Burrow lost that game.
Yeah, and speaking of penalties, so for week 2, it was pretty similar to week 1, actually. Pretty much around the same amount of penalties were called. There was a total of 17-12. The most penalties were against the Jaguars. They had 13, and the Bears were at 12. And this week's grade, the NFL on penalties, was a C.
That's what it was last week too, I think.
Yep, it pretty much is. It was pretty much the same amount of penalties. I think it was off by 1.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, crazy week in football, and definitely a lot more penalties, I feel like, than ever this year. And those refs are definitely calling them on a lot of stuff, especially the legal formation with the O-linemen lining up in the backfield. They're definitely not letting them get away with it this year.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves on into the next segments. But before we do, we'll take a quick little break.
Are you ready to experience the power of military community right from the comfort of your living room? Introducing Military United podcast streams, now available on the Roku channel. Get ready to dive into a world of incredible stories, inspiring discussions, and the best entertainment the military community has to offer. With our veteran podcast host, you'll gain insights into the experiences that have shaped our heroes. And that's not all. We've got a lineup of talented veteran musicians playing rock, country, and more. Get ready to rock out with these incredible artists who have served our country and are now ready to entertain you with their soulful tunes. But wait, there's more. We've also got veteran comedians who will have you in stitches with their hilarious and relatable stories. Laughter is the best medicine, and these brave men and women know how to deliver it. So gather your loved ones, grab some popcorn, and prepare for an unforgettable journey into the world of military podcast, music, and comedy. With Military United podcast streams now on Roku, you can access all this incredible content with just a few clicks of a button. Military United podcast streams on Roku channel. It's time to honor, entertain, and celebrate the incredible men and women who have served our country. Join us today and experience the power of the military community.
All right. We're going to go ahead and pull up this week's week 3 schedule, kind of talk about the games that we got going on this upcoming week. We start off the Thursday night with the Patriots versus the Jets. It's going to be right there in New York. It's a home game for them. Probably be starting to get a little bit more chilly, this time of year, nighttime. We got the New York Giants versus the Browns. We got the Bears versus the Colts. Texans versus the Vikings. Eagles versus the Saints. Chargers versus the Steelers. Broncos versus the Buccaneers. Green Bay Packers versus the Titans. The Panthers versus the Raiders. Dolphins versus the Seahawks. Lions versus the Cardinals. Baltimore Ravens at the Cowboys. 49ers at the Rams. Chiefs at the Falcons. Jaguars at Buffalo, and the Commanders at the Bengals home. Kevin, any games stick out to you, man?
Yeah, there is one. Kansas City and Atlanta, Sunday night game. I think that's gonna. I'm still thinking that Kansas City's gonna go down. I don't think.
Wow.
You think that's the game, huh? You think that's the game they trip up?
I do. I do, and I think that Kelsey's not playing good. I think there's a lot of shit in his mind. I think Mahomes.
He's got the Swift
Yeah,
love,
he's got
man.
that going on. Mahomes came out and said, "Look, I don't get involved in politics," which was really great to hear him say that. So I don't support anybody. You know, I just think the whole thing's ready to collapse out there, and I think that's the night they're going to do it.
Huh. Interesting. What about you, Donald? Any games stick out to you?
So, the Eagles and the Saints, man. I think that game right there is going to be a very good game. I think it's also going to show us whether or not Hurst can be patient and methodical, because I don't expect Barkley to have a huge game. I think he's gonna have a harder time against the Saints running, and it's gonna force Hurst to have to be a little bit more patient and methodical and pass the ball around if they're gonna beat the Saints. But I think they do it. I think they come out I think the score is going to be 21-18.
All right, interesting. Now, for me, I'm kind of looking at this Detroit Lion Cardinal game, right? Detroit Lions coming off a very tough loss. Cardinals coming off a really big win. I kind of think this could be a pretty good game right here. And the Cardinals are playing a lot tougher than I think a lot of people are taking them account for. So,
yeah,
the Lions really going to have to step it up to watch themselves from falling into the 1 and 2 category. A lot of people had them pretty high up in the power rankings, so they're just kind of – the Buccaneers are looking a lot tougher than I think a lot of people thought them out to be as well, right? And I think a lot of that has to go off of the play of Blake Mayfield. His both of his wide receivers are really, complementing each other. And they also have a decent guy to run the ball, right? And so, the Buccaneers are really starting to make a head in the NFC. Detroit Lions are starting to teeter in hot water. The Cardinals could be the one that really hurts them and puts them in a 1 and 2 situation. Either one of them can walk away with that, 2-1 or a 1 and 2 situation. And once you start falling in that losing category, man, you can really get yourself in a slump and get in your head, and the players' locker room really starts to get into arguments and a lot of problems. So hopefully, some of these guys start working it out before it gets too bad. But, let's talk about a little bit of the power rankings and see how this week it went. So number 1 is still holding their spot as the Chiefs. Up 2 spots, the Houston Texans jumped up, and they basically switched spots with the 49ers, sending the 49ers down to spot 4, and the Detroit Lions are sitting at 3 still, which I'm really shocked. After losing to the Buccaneers, they kept them there. Buffalo Bills up 2 spots at number 5. The Buccaneers made a really big jump. They are up 4 spots to number 6. Dropping 2 spots was the Eagles. They're down at number 7. Dropping 2 spots down was the Baltimore Ravens, which, we actually thought they were kind of already low. Now they're dropping lower, and maybe people had it right. I don't know. The biggest jump in the power rankings at number 9 is the Saints. They jumped up 12 spots. The Bengals up 1 spot to number 10, which I'm really shocked. that they're moving up, even though they're 0-2. So people still got faith in the good old Bengals. Good old Joe. And number 11, Green Bay Packers moved up 3 spots. The Jets moved up 1 spot to 12. The Cowboys dropped 5 spots to 13. Seahawks up 3 to 14. The Browns up 1 to 15. The Steelers up 2 to 16. The Raiders made a pretty big jump up to they jumped up 5 to 25. Colts down 3. The Patriots sat at 27. They're still there. And the same with the Commanders. They're still at 28. And the Titans dropped down 3 to 29. And the Broncos dropped down to 1 to 30. And the holding still in 31 and 32. The New York Giants at 31 and the Panthers at 32. Any of these rankings shock you guys?
Well, there was once a president that used to say, "This is some fake news."
Yes. I love it.
Let me throw and debunk this right now. All right. So if this was a college ranking, Kansas City wouldn't be number 1 no more.
Right.
Okay. How is it that a team that wasn't even in the top 10 going into there, they barely beat? All right. Now let's keep in mind, Kansas City's offense did not win that game. That fumble return was 7 of those points that they scored. So how is it that they stay 1, Houston is 2, and the Bengals move up 1?
And how is it Pittsburgh is 0-2? At 16. I don't get that.
Well, I definitely think Pittsburgh should be ranked higher
Pittsburgh's
than
2-0
Dallas
right now. That's right. Why? Pittsburgh is sitting at 2-0. They are giving them some love. Yeah, they're sitting at 2-0, so they're giving them a little love.
Right.
But what did Dallas show?
Yeah, Dallas hasn't done nothing, and Dallas.
Right.
I mean, that's why they dropped 5. Which I think.
Why is Pittsburgh sitting there? I'm with you. Why is Pittsburgh 16 and Dallas is 13?
I think they switch spots. I mean, honestly, but I would
and there's no way Cleveland should be higher than 16.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh should be above Cleveland. Cleveland, I mean, unless these rankings is about how many passes you dropped, then Amari Cooper would be ranked number 1. Holy crap. He's had 28 yards in 2 weeks.
Guys, I mean, that goes to beg the question, does the way they're doing all season hurt these guys into the regular season? I mean, I these past 2 weeks, you could see a lot of struggles and a lot of mishaps, a lot of mistakes. It's crazy. Do you guys think that hurt them a little bit? Cutting out some games or not playing these guys?
Allegedly for Cleveland, Deshaun's penis hurt him. Allegedly.
All right. Well, hey. Well, I don't know. That's
the sexual harassment charges again.
Oh man, more? Or are you talking about this?
No.
More than the one we already just found like last week?
Oh no, I'm talking about that one.
Okay, okay. I was like, please tell me no.
But that's the reason why he's not with Houston no more. Is because he went and got that massage in Atlanta and was asking for some happy endings.
My gosh, man.
So this is the second time this has happened.
Yeah, well, I got to say, though, with the Saints right now, they are averaging 45.5 points a game and scored every time they possessed the ball so far. That's pretty impressive, man. And I got to say, Carr is coming out, and he's really playing well for the Saints right now. I know my dad, he'd be super happy that he's got good old Carr back there because, I mean, he is carving people up, man. I mean, we'll see. You know, this upcoming week, I think, is going to be a huge, big test for them against the Eagles. And, you know, but I'll tell you that center for the Eagles, man, you see him, he's struggling a little bit. The guy that took over Kelsey, man, him and the quarterback have had several snaps and several penalties against him as well. So the Eagles are feeling that loss of Kelsey. I'll tell you that much.
You know what? I've also noticed I haven't seen a lot out of tight ends.
You're right, man. You know you're right because definitely in my fantasy league, I think this week George Kittle did pretty decent actually for the first week, but before that, not very much. But yeah, I feel like you're right, man. We're not hearing a lot out of them.
Mm-mm.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get on to our next segment. But before we do, we're going to take a quick break.
American made, better known, we are Doc Goodbeard. It's more than just looking good. When it comes to your beard, we believe you can have it all. Thoughtfully designed, unique fragrances, and affordable prices. We strive to provide a line of uniquely scented balms and oils that you won't find in other products. Come on, rock with Doc, and remember, it's all about the beard, man. So what do you say? Let's take that average beard and make it badass. Go to docbeard.com.
Come on.
Not over yet,
All right. This is where we get to look at our good and bad, how we did on our Rawdawg picks. And this week, I think we all kind of, it was a little rough for us, I think. So going into it, I was 5-0. Kevin was 4-1, as well as Donald was 4-1. After week 3, bada-bum, I am now 8-2. Kevin is 6-4, as well as Donald is 6-4. And how it worked out for us last week, the Bills beat the Fins, and Kevin and I thought that was going to happen. No, sorry. Yeah, we thought the Bills were going to win. Donald lost that one. The Saints beat the shit out of the Cowboys, and all of us took an L on there. We all went with the boys on that. The Steelers beat the Broncos 13-6. Donald and myself got the W, and Kevin took the loss because he went with his fan favorite on that one. Yeah. And the Bears lost to the Texans 19-13. We all got a W there. And the Falcons, surprisingly, man, that game was such a tight game and back and forth. They lost to the Eagles 22-21, and we all took a loss there. What a shock. Oh, it's on that one. But up this coming week, the Thursday night game, we got the Patriots versus the Jets. For the Sunday AM game, we got the Packers versus the Titans. For the Sunday PM game, we got the Panthers Raiders. For the Sunday night game, we got the Chiefs Falcons, and for Monday Night Football, we got Jaguars and the Bills. All right, boys, what are we gonna do? Here we go. Let's take our picks, and we'll go ahead and start it off with Kevin. Who you got? Game 1
Taking the Jets. Taking the Jets, boys.
All right, the Jets. Kevin.
I think Aaron's going to come out and do a good job.
All right. It's a home game for him.
Yep.
Donald.
I never thought I would say this.
He's going to pick Patriots?
No, I'm not going to pick the Patriots, but I do think that the Jets are going to squeak by. I don't think it's going to be the blowout that people think it's going to be. One, again, I'm kind of predicting there's going to be a lot of low-scoring games, this week, and I don't see Breece Hall running through the Patriots like I would expect him to. But, their run defense has shown up. I mean, I'll say it. I was wrong on that aspect of it. If they had a quarterback, Brissett is not a quarterback. I'm sorry. I've never been a fan. I'm not buying into that hype. But I think the Jets win by 3.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with you there too. I feel like it's Going to be a shootout with these guys. More of a defensive struggle, and at the end of the game, I think it's going to matter who possessed the ball more and was able to get that field goal game-winning drive.
Yep.
All right, so all three of us went with the Jets on there. For game 2, we got the Packers versus the Titans. All right, Donald, what you got?
Oh my God. And the Titans should be a better team than they are. They really should.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't believe Love is playing, and I just don't see much left on the Packers there. So again, I'm gonna say the Titans by 1.
Yeah, this is a struggle. I think this one.
It is.
I think for myself though, personally see myself going with the Packers on this. I'm really leaning towards them. I do think their defense will keep them a little bit more alive. And like you said, the Titans just aren't really playing up their potential right now, but it is a home game for them, so it's a good time for them to turn it on. But I just think they're going to come up short, and I think the Packers are going to squeak by with this one. And I do really think it's going to be another field goal type game, really close, and it's all going to come down to that clock management and holding, having possession of the ball. Kevin?
I'm going with the Pack on this one. I'm with you on this. I think they're going to squeak by. Tennessee's due for a good win, so I don't know, but I've just got this gut feeling that the Packers are going to stand up and give them a little bit of a fight.
Yep. All right. So that one's a little bit of a toss-up for us. All right. We got game 3. It's the Panthers versus the Raiders.
Raiders have a bye week.
Yeah, I mean, at this rate of time, I think no one's picking Panthers, for a while.
Yeah, I'm taking Raiders.
I think we're all going to go with the Raiders here without even having to
on.
worry about it yet.
Just move on, Brian.
No disrespect, they're Panthers fans, but we're going to disrespect you. Yeah, that one's and I hate the Raiders, honestly.
Oh yeah, I do.
So if I'm going with the Raiders, it's freaking bad.
Yeah.
The
thing is Raider fans love that you hate them.
Yeah,
so they're not mad when we say we hate the Raiders. They're like, yeah,
right. The fucking worst fans ever. All my friends, screw you, bro. The freaking Raiders fans, man.
Well, I will tell you, I think this is the week that we see some bigger numbers from Brock Bowers.
Well, it's about that time.
Yeah.
All right, boys. What do we got here? We got the Chiefs versus the Falcons. Kevin, what do you got here?
Falcons.
Oh, he's going for the upset.
Yeah.
It's in Atlanta. They squeaked by, this last week, pulling off that win, but I don't really think they're going to be able to do that against the Chiefs, and I don't think that the Falcons are going to be the one to trip up the Chiefs just yet. Okay. I do think the Chiefs are going to probably lose about 2 to 3 games this year, but I don't see the Falcons as one just yet. So I'm going with the Chiefs here. All right, Donald.
So I am going to take the Chiefs, but there is a but here. I do see what Kevin is saying, and I'm going to tell you why. There is a game plan that would beat the Chiefs. I just don't think they can execute it. That would mean that Robinson has to have a big game, and they dominantly run, and they take the smaller gains with Pitts. They haven't even gotten Pitts involved this year, and I think that's why. Downfield, it's not going to be there. The corners are going to put the Falcons in check, but that middle, that linebacker area and the defensive line, they'll give up some yards.
See, and I think Kirk Cousins going to probably throw a pick or two here. He's just not looking very comfortable in the pocket. The Chiefs are going to apply some pressure at him, and I do see him throwing maybe a pick or two, honestly, in this game.
Well, he doesn't know how to, like I said, take what is given to you. He has never been a hand the ball off quarterback. He likes that you've been mossed shit. He's into that hype, and he likes to throw it downfield. And so I do agree with you, and that's exactly why they lose.
Well, I'm going with Kirko on this one, baby.
Nah, Kirk Cousins is got. Hopefully, he comes alive, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
He hasn't impressed me just yet.
Okay.
All right, our final game, we got the Jaguars versus the Bills. I'll go ahead and start this off. I think the Bills are going to start the season off 3-0. That I just don't see the Jaguars going into Buffalo beating them. And Josh is just amazing, man. He the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, dude. Josh Allen just got right. Josh Allen.
Yep.
Yeah, dude is just charismatic. He's tough as nails. Runs hard with the ball. He's going to be tough for the Jaguars defense to kind of hold down. And once again, they're in Buffalo, and I going from good old sunny side Florida to Buffalo Bills. They ain't ready for it. Bills for me. All right, Kevin.
I'm definitely taking the Bills on this. Josh Allen should have been the Denver Broncos quarterback.
They would have been a lot better off.
They could have picked him. They messed that up, man. They messed that up. And he's from Wyoming. And,
that's bad.
I mean, the whole thing was a messed up deal, but I'm definitely going with the Bills. I think they got these guys taken care of.
Yep. What about you, Don? What you thinking?
Yeah, I don't see a game plan here that the Jaguars beat the Bills. I really don't. They just don't have the weapons, and Lawrence isn't clicking like I had expected him to by now. He should be playing better ball than what he's playing.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that wraps up our picks for this week. And before we get started, we'll go ahead and make sure we see the standings one more time. Myself is 8-2, Kevin and Donald 6-4. And anything goes, man. I mean, picking 5 games a week, things can change real quick. I could go 0 for 5.
Yeah.
And things can change real quick.
Yeah, it's going to look a little different next week, isn't it, boys?
Yeah, I mean, there's only a couple, about 3 different games. 1, 2, 3 out of the 5 we have. There's a difference there. So
Kevin is hoping that Kirk Cousins gets beamed up, Scotty.
Yeah.
If he doesn't become Captain Kirk, I don't know how y'all win.
Kirko.
If Kevin Logic fails you this week, you're gonna have to say fuck that Kevin Logic next week, man.
Yeah, what are you gonna do when Kirko takes him down? And we talk about this next week. Kansas City going down.
Then I'll be eating the crow, man.
Yeah, you will.
All right, fellas, we'll go ahead and get into the next segment. Before we do, we'll take a quick break.
Welcome to Veteran Voice Radio, where we honor the brave and celebrate their stories through music. Tune in to 2 incredible stations, Ranger Rockwave and Simplified Country. On Ranger Rockwave, experience the raw energy of alternative rock featuring talented musicians who are veterans and military family members. Their powerful stories and unforgettable tunes will inspire you and keep you rocking. Switch over to Simplified Country, where the heart of country music meets the spirit of service. Enjoy heartfelt ballads and toe-tapping tunes from veterans and their families sharing their journey through song. Join a community that honors those who serve. Veteran Voice Radio, music with a mission. Discover Ranger Rockwave and Simplify Country at veteranvoiceradio.com, or you can also download the app on Apple or Google and let the stories of our heroes resonate through your speakers.
All right. This is where we talk about our fantasies. Not a real fantasy, but fantasy football. You guys get the fuck out of there.
Strap it up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's that raw dog
Raw
talk right
dog.
there, huh? Yeah, buddy. Everybody's like, fantasy. It's Fantasy Island time, huh? The plane. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our fantasy, man. And who do we gonna start off with? We're gonna start off with Kevin.
All right.
How did we do, man? Ooh,
Oh, don't show it, man.
ooh, brother.
It was the worst I think I've had. 70.
Jeez, you got a big donut in there
Oh,
for
man.
Walker. You didn't pay attention to that. Questionable. That cue.
No, look at my tight end, nothing. Diggs didn't have a great day.
Yeah, Conklin.
But my defense was good.
Your flex didn't do nothing for you.
No.
Yeah,
And
man,
now,
that's rough, man. Because
that's rough.
so like even Lamar Jackson didn't even have that great of a day, right?
Nope.
He didn't do that great fantasy wise. He's better. He's more for a 20 dub on
Yep.
usually on any day.
And
Yeah, so man,
think I'm
what
playing.
rough. That's rough for you, brother. Even that Brandon Ayuk, man. I don't know about San Francisco really stressing out about reconstructing his deal, boy. He ain't really showing us shit, is he?
Not yet. But guess what, guys? Here's the thing. Wakanda Forever, he's our number one. He started off as the number one guy in our league this year. But I got 3 picks today. I got Derek Carr. I picked him up off of the waiver line. And I got another tight end, and I forgot who else. But I had a really good deal going on today with no trades, but good pickups because 3 of my guys are out. So I had to redo this, and I'll tell you what, my team's looking really good for this week, and I think I'm going to take off strong. I'm 1-1 in fantasy. I'm going to be going 2-1.
Nice. All right. Well, that's a way to have some confidence.
Yep.
All right, Donald. Let's go ahead and take a look at your report card. How did we do, my man?
Woo! He kicked
Damn,
ass.
son. 161 points out of that's the highest out of the 12, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you damn had a good night, then I would say.
So I starting off, I have Kyle Murray as my quarterback, and him and old Marvin just took it downtown multiple times, man. They were like, let's just keep drinking, let's go to the bar, man, let's go. And so I got quite a bit of points from there. I still always believe in improving your foxhole, right? So I have 3 quarterbacks. I have Kyler Murray. I have the old Chargers quarterback, and I went ahead and traded my rookie quarterback, the backup for the Patriots. He'll probably be starting in a week or so, I expect. But I had that room, and another name was on my waiver wire, Brian Thomas from the Jags. He's got 144 yards with 6 receptions. So that's a good stat for a number 4 wide receiver, because I got Waddle, which I'm worried about now. And I've got see Waddle. I got from the Tampa Bay, not Evans, the other
Wallace.
guy. No.
I got him too. Just starts with a G.
Yep, yeah. Man, I'm losing it, man. I'm getting old. But
Godwin.
Godwin. I've got him, and now I have Najuku Puka from the Rams if he ever gets off the IR, and I also have Neighbors. So I don't have a bad wide receiver core, but guess what?
What?
Nobody else has got him either now.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we know how you work with that. you gave up that pretty early.
yep.
Yeah, man,
Yep.
that's a good first week because for Donald's League, if you guys weren't tuning in last week for them was kind of like a free week to kind of put a little bit of a wager on it, and
so week
this
2
week is week 1.
You look at week 1 and you come out and you go, hey, you got 3 new picks, man, and your team looks better.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is an important week in fantasy football because
Absolutely.
everybody's making trades and going on the waiver wire and making deals.
Well, hold that thought. We'll come back because I do want to kind of get into that kind of conversation about what do you start to do as a fantasy owner right now? Do you hold on to guys? Do you start letting go? Do you panic now?
Yeah.
But before we do, we'll kind of get into my real quick. Hey, man, I'm starting off 2-0. I was picked 8 out of the 12, worst of the league, and here I am now sitting at third place, 2-0. In both weeks, I put over 130 points.
Nice.
And so I've been hammering it down. Like I said, Lamar Jackson didn't have quite the game that he was projected to have. He's usually good for a 20 spot, and he gave me, 16 on that game. But really, the Buccaneers roster really is really booming right now. Rashad White, I know he didn't do very good there, but he's been doing pretty good. But Godwin and Mike Evans, both on the receiving end of Blake Mayfield, and they're really starting to get pass heavy, especially with Rashad White being questionable now. He's got a little bit of an injury going on. I actually pulled him out for this upcoming week, and I plugged in the Chargers running back, who's kind of a bounce back. The Chargers running back, man, he's really moving up, I think, in a lot of people's fantasies league. But yeah, man, another great week. I am projected to lose my next one, although this person isn't that great. Mr. Shannon Book, what's up, brother? Welcome in, man.
Hey, Shannon.
All right. We got to hang out with him this weekend. What a wild time we had. It was great hanging out with everybody.
His neck of the woods almost took down my number one Georgia Bulldogs this last weekend. Oh, Kentucky damn near beat them.
Yeah, man. College has been real fun to watch lately too, huh? But guys, onto the fantasy talk a little bit. Now, should fantasy owners start worrying about some of these guys that they picked up and they had some high hopes for, and they're just not producing like they were projected to do? Is this the time to start really watching that wire? I mean, I think it's a critical time for that wire. Week 2, week 3, even week 4, because there's still some guys in those free agencies typically that went undrafted. I know Derek Carr sat in my league for a while, and I don't think after this last week, man, he's been picked up on a lot of waiver wires.
Yeah.
But
what are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I think it, first of all, I think it depends, right? And when I say that, it depends on where you're sitting. So let's say you took the number 1 pick and you did just like everybody else. You picked up McCaffrey and you're sitting 0-2 here. Now we know we're expecting him back, week 6 is what they're saying?
Wow.
So you have to ask yourself, are you going to go 0-6? by holding on to him, or somebody that is 2-0, do you want to give him up and make a trade to try to salvage your year? Because you go 0-3, 0-4, and it starts looking pretty rough. You know?
0-4 is really hard to dig yourself out of and hope for a playoff berth.
Yeah. So
If you're in the NFC, you probably could swing it,
Yeah. And if you're in that situation, then I would venture to guess you'd probably be panicking right now. But if you're not in that situation, let's say you're 1-1, and just your top picks ain't performing. Well, look, there's a reason why they were your top picks. We all know that the preseason was kind of odd. We also know that there's been a lot of teams out there dealing with off-field drama, contract disputes and stuff like that. I don't think you panic.
You don't panic. You don't panic at all. And
Nope.
Again, like you said, you could be 2-0. You're going to sit probably. You're going to go look around and go, you're not going to be out there. And besides that, on the waiver wire, you're not going to be able to even be up at the top. So you probably won't get a pick anyways. So if you've lost, you got a better chance of getting some of those guys. But like for me, I'm 1-1. Some guys they're out, they're hurt or whatever, and they really didn't perform real well. And it's like, here, let me give you an example. I remember I had Bo Nix and I had Caleb Williams, 2 rookie quarterbacks. But now I got Derek Carr. I dropped Bo Nix and picked up Derek Carr. Okay. So I'm keeping Caleb Williams out there, but quarterbacks, I don't care what anybody says. You can pick up a quarterback, and before you know it, they could be a backup quarterback. Your quarterback gets hurt, and you're in there. So but if you're 0-2 and you're losing, I don't think you need to panic, but you do need to go out there and start looking, because Donald's right. If you got somebody like McCaffrey or even Tua, who's out until week number 8, but I don't think he's going to be coming back. You got to figure that out. You can't sit on it.
Now, so let me ask you guys this too, for the fantasy folks out there. Do you drop these guys that are injured right now? Do you hold? I mean, do you hold on to McCaffrey? He's out week 6. That's the projected date for him for now. Do you hold on to him? What if it's more like he's into week 8, and you're just holding on to that gem, or do you let him go? Or, I mean, what point do you guys start letting go some of these injured guys on your roster, or do you hold tight with them and hope for them to come back and give you some points down the run?
Well, I will tell you, if I was in that league and I had McCaffrey and I was 0-2, I would be looking to make a trade. I would be
go to a
for,
different. So you would go to another fantasy owner and say, "Hey, man, let's make a trade," and you could probably get something for McCaffrey.
Yep, I would be looking, if I had a decent number 2 running back and maybe I had a weaker receiver core, I would be looking at trying to move into a better passing game, a better receiving core, and try to get maybe 2 middle ground receivers for him.
Yeah.
And see what bites. Sometimes you just got to throw shit against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, you can always find those people that are eager. Kind of go to someone that that was talking about Christian McCaffrey a lot during the draft. If you have family and they wanted Chris, damn, man, I really wanted him.
Yeah.
All right. I
You
got
know,
him. So
I
let me
think
get your wide receiver and running back, and he's yours.
Yep. I think one of the things that people do wrong when they're analyzing is they look at yards and touchdowns, right? And that's not where you want to focus at, right? The value doesn't come from just yards and touchdowns. It comes from touches.
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know, with a receiver, you got to look at two things. You know, how many targets did he have, and how many snaps did he run a route? You know, it's great. You can have the greatest wide receiver in the world, but if all he does is block downfield, it ain't going to do you no good. You know,
Right.
so you've got to look at both of those stats. How many times is he targeted? And out of those, you know, how many snaps did he have, and how many snaps did he run a route on? And how many targets did he have? And that's what you want to focus on, because let's face it, you're not going to hit a home run every week.
Right.
But if you're having players that are touching the ball, then every week you have the opportunity.
Now, do you agree with the folks that constantly are messing with a roster week after week? Or yeah, right.
Don't do that. Do not do that.
Yeah, that messes a lot up, right? There is
It
those
does
people
not
out
work.
there that just think that they go to free agency because the projected points look better than someone they got, so they go and make trades. And I mean, I'll tell you, don't live like that, because
No.
you may not get back someone really good. And you know, you just got to be patient sometimes, especially in these first couple of weeks, right? You really start to got to see who the rising stars start to be and who got momentum going in their way, right? And you kind of start looking at those type of things. Those things are critical, man. But any words of advice before we get going on the fantasy guys?
Just my advice is to just hang tight. Wait another week if you're on the edge, going, well, should I not? Give it another week.
Patience. Be patient. And sometimes, like, try to look at your players and look at who they're playing against. Try to think about when someone's running, what defense are they going against? Look at their rush defense. If you really want to get into it, start looking at a little bit of the stats, how the defenses are up against the rush, against the pass, and then you can kind of see these players are playing that team. And if they're playing against the Carolina Panthers, start them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and the other thing too is you should have a core, right?
Right.
So you should have a core four. Usually it's your two running backs, two wide receivers, or maybe it's one running back, your quarterback, and two wide receivers, whatever, right?
Right.
And that core, you don't sit no matter who they're playing.
Sure.
If they're healthy and they're on the field, you play them, right?
Yep.
But that flex position, man, that position, you have to start looking at where's your ceiling at? Which player's got the highest ceiling?
Yeah.
Because that flex position is where you want to bring somebody in and
try to get your points there.
Yep.
Yeah. I couldn't agree any more there.
And
I see too many people putting tight ends as flexes. You know.
Yeah.
On your core team, at least for me, this is what I do every year. When I get ready to, in the draft, get ready to pick my kicker, I pick the very best kicker that I think is going to get the most points. What team's going to really be an offensive thing? So this year, I was able to pick up Butker from Kansas City, and he's been kicking ass. So, I think kickers, if you get a good kicker, stick with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest. I don't, when I only pick up one kicker,
right?
And when it comes to my bye week, I just don't have a kicker.
Exactly.
Yep. I just, I'll just take the 0 for that 1 week for my kicker, but I'm not going to give him up to somebody else if he's doing good, and I'm not going to waste 2 spots to have a backup.
Exactly.
So what I do sometimes though is I'll go to the free agency and just look at the points comparison and see, oh shit, he's actually a little bit better of a kicker. I'll fucking just trade him right off rip and just be done with it and keep right out that kicker for the rest.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I don't pick a kicker from a very high scoring offense. I like the ones that struggle in the red zone, because where you make your points is these 40, 45-yard field goals, not the extra points.
Right.
If your kicker's only going out there and kicking 7 extra points a game because they scored a bunch of touchdowns, but he's never having to kick 40 and 50-yard field goals, man, it takes a lot of extra points to equal those points.
Yeah, you got to get it to teams that are going to kick field goals. Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, shoot. What? Week 1, I think one team, that's all they did. They kicked like 6 field goals or something. Yeah. Yeah, that kicker, he had a hell of a day that day for that fantasy team.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, is there anything you want to say or any last thoughts? Last week, we asked the question, who we thought was going to shit the bed this week. Do we have any little leave us a turd question?
I think so. I think this week is the deciding week. Are we going to have this really weird football season where wide receivers are not scoring a bunch of fantasy points and the teams that should be last place are in first? Or do some of these teams that was expected to do something pull their head out of their ass? If the Bengals lose to Washington, I'm just done.
0-3 is going to be rough, man. I mean,
you don't come back from 0-3.
0-3 is a really rough, it is a rough thing to bounce back from, honestly. You don't want to start off in the hole like that. The Baltimore Ravens are sitting there too. They're sitting there talking about the same question. Do we really want to start off 0-3, boys? I mean, this was our year. This was our year. The Ravens are really shit in the bed right now. And if this week we're talking about shit in the bed, the Kansas City Chiefs could be the team to shit the bed, and it would be against the Atlanta Falcons. So
I will tell you that would be a bigger upset than the Eagles over the Saints. I can tell you that much.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yep. All right, fellas. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for another great show. Thank you guys so much for all your input. I always love hanging out with you guys and talking football. Please check us out. We're always live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please give us a like, share, and follow, all that good stuff. You can
check it out on Roku.
Yep, Roku channel. You saw that little commercial. Go download it today and watch us on the big screen TV.
Absolutely.
But all right. You guys have an amazing day. Don't let the day kick your ass. And we'll see you guys all on the next Wednesday.
Rawdawg Football Talk, baby. Thanks, everyone.
Don't get no seepage.